All right, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of SuperFreq. I'm your host, Talíyah. This is going to be a bit of a quicker cast today because it's kind of a call for discernment for everybody who has been inside of the consciousness communities, following even my work for years now, okay, with unity consciousness and breaking down religious construct and trying not to collapse into doctrine with finding where you are in all of this. And so you maybe moved into kind of the Gaia world where it was like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Lipton and I can't remember a couple of the other people, like you guys know who I'm talking about, who have since been, let's say, compromised. Best way I can kind of put that, to the tune of me having to clean up people who have been entrenched in the teachings of said teachers, educators, authors. It's not that their information is not relevant. It's that the clarity and the signal from which they are sharing that information has been compromised, and I do not see, at least from the resonance I'm at now, that they know the difference. So I've been very forthright about my journey with you guys, with divine discernment and how it's needed now more than ever as we kind of traverse some rocky waters in coming back home to ourselves, especially with consciousness evolution and what consciousness architecture actually means, which is how you project yourself in whatever reality you are in, okay? Whether or not you're in the Galactic Federation of Insanity or projecting yourself into the 9th Octorian realm of, deep base 12 inversion to get codes, okay? Whatever it is, your ability to be able to discern how and where you are getting your information from is really what embodiment is all about. Consciousness architecture is at its core helping you move towards operating from your original blueprint, where your frequency signature, your spirit, mind, soul, body is connected to pure source only. And you're able to discern all of the facets of that. Okay? And that evolution, that process of kind of cycling through and getting more clear and kind of expanding, contracting is the journey. There is kind of no end point to that. Eventually, you really stop seeking and you just are there for the ride. So what you're doing with me and what I'm doing, let's say, with consciousness in general is helping you. I've created a field for that as I move my hand in a circle that you guys can't see, okay? I've created a structure, and that structure is coherent the more I'm coherent with myself, which is why I take this so seriously in keeping my integrity intact. So sharing with you always what's going on through that field of intelligence, let's say, optimizing, ongoing, source connected, Jesus anchored. Okay, it's just coherence modeling. It allows you with a really clear container to see yourself from a higher perspective and then entrain to that. And it's like having a coach in athletics. I'm going to help you push. I'm going to push you beyond your edges to help you move at whatever pace you want and move into whatever level of resonance you want. I will take you as far and as wide with the coherence modeling as I personally can. And you'll know when you're ready to kind of fly on your own. And then I'll be there for that too. This is what synergistic ascension really is. And it's an inward experience. It's totally going in. What's happening now with the consciousness community is just hierarchical, gatekeeping, utter nonsense. It's gotten so distorted and so fragmented that what this community is now selling is more forbidden knowledge, more access, more out-of-body projection. For what? What is that? What are they actually promising you and selling you? They're giving you the illusion of knowledge. And I will tell you firsthand, okay, the more that you seek that knowledge, and it's incredibly, let's say, seductive, you'll get it, but it's going to cost you something. And I know that those who are inside my programs now, you guys have likely felt this process of me becoming more and more available to vulnerability, to be witnessed in this process. You can feel when it gets too technical at the expense of my humanity, at the expense of humanity. And I learned that mechanism creates its own phase lock, and it creates its own loop, and you'll just loop and loop and loop. And whatever consciousness is coming through that's in the inversion, meaning it's not anchored in Christ consciousness, knows that and is playing with all of these people. It's just creating false projection. None of that is sovereign under the guise of being sovereign. I can tell you, we're here to have a human experience. And again, I have had this firsthand now. And now I really got it. I really kind of understood the experience of the body felt, the nervous system felt, the cellular level shift of what it looks like to push yourself too far beyond, let's say, to push your parameters, which I think I've been very transparent about. Like, my intention now is to see how much I can conduct and then how quickly I can metabolize that and then run that through the body. I still feel that way, but I'm not pushing to get knowledge elsewhere except for really the fifth. Like, it's kind of not that interesting to me. The 6th, 8th, 9th, 10th, okay. Learning 2/10 of a dimension that this, you take the measurement between the armpit and the Vitruvian man's penis and square, put that by the square root of insanity, and you get, the trifecta of the pyramid that goes into, Uranus. Like, what is that actually? Where is that taking you? Literally, where is that taking you? So mechanism and pattern interrogation is all very interesting. It's interesting to look at things from various perspectives and get mechanism and try to connect dots and all of that stuff. But we're here to have deeply human, vulnerable experiences, relive unawakened pattern from an awakened perspective, and make this reality work for us and have a good time. So I've almost phase locked myself in just Christ consciousness. That's kind of all where I want to hang out right now. And I can resonate with all different kinds of places. I've pushed myself very, very far. Like, can Hansel and Gretel myself into multiverses if I wanted. But it's come at a cost for me where I can harden. It actually hardens me, and you can feel the metallic. It becomes a bit of a metallic. The information is incredibly precise, but then you're just in this loop of incredible precision without the understanding of being human. So now I want to talk about thresholds and how those thresholds and that mechanism can phase lock itself. So this all started with me seeking the mechanics of why thresholds are experienced, why they're experienced, and how we reach them, and then how to transcend them, right? So let me go through something, let me metabolize it, master it, and then let me teach it so you guys don't feel like you're crazy. Let's say you've been in this for a year, 2 years, you're new in it, 60 days, you're like kind of 6 months, and you kind of don't feel like you're getting it, or you're feeling like you're kind of stuck. You're being asked to surrender in a different way. So chances are you're up against an expectation, which is accommodating a prediction that you're not worthy of having access to yourself. So if you're looking at those five compartments, consciousness architecture essentially is prediction, containment, constraints, boundary, and permission. Out of those 5, where are you creating a constraint that isn't necessary? Right now, you feel like you're constrained by vision. I can't see. I don't know. But what you're actually needing to look at is permission and trust and surrender, making that access to self vertical, not horizontal. Then there's another threshold that we reach. Usually it's getting access to ourself or not feeling good. You're up against constant and ongoing body pain. Like, where is this body pain coming from? This is presenting itself. What does this mean? The hyper meaning making, or it has to accommodate some transgenerational, epigenetic a lifetime from 40 years ago. And all that might be true, right? All of that absolutely might be true. But there's a way for you to ask, or let's say, reframe that. I recognize I'm up against a constraint, and I have full permission and full trust to have it be revealed to me in time, and then move through there. So there's a victim loop that is upholding a threshold in that particular scenario. But the more you seek to understand and the more frustrated you get, the more up against yourself you become, the more that locks in the very pattern or the very firewall you're trying to dismantle. And it becomes very lateral. So I was seeking, how do we transcend threshold? And what I was met with is the architecture has gotten too lateral because of where you're expanding into. It's kind of started to bypass or not root itself in the bandwidth of the fifth, which is deeply, deeply human. Learned a big lesson on that. So I reoriented myself, basically dropped my access point to the fifth and locked myself there. And then I was able to feel more deeply and allow myself to unravel and kind of go with the flow a lot more, and didn't really care about having to have the perfect sequence for stuff or having to articulate a pattern within 0.2 of an inch of its life. It just became how I can signal and how I can hold and how I can coherence, model, and nurture, where people are feeling like things are starting to bend towards them. Reality is starting to bend towards them, and then there isn't so much resistance. So just become aware of what you're actually seeking. What is it that you want to know that you don't feel you have access to? How is that access or that seeking helping you? Where's the urgency in all of that? Okay, there's a time function to all of this. This is what I want. I want it now, and I'm not able to see. So there's some trust and surrender in all of this. And let's say you can feel in and tune into something already. Like if you're tuning into me, and then let's say the projected duplicate of myself, you already have access to tune in to more than you think you do. So you would need to work on the permissions aspect of that 5 kind of pillar. Like you'll take, let's say, for example, the slave, which I think I talked about on a podcast ago. Your sacrifice lack, your addiction abuse, the control pattern, the victim consciousness, and then is this epigenetically influenced? And then apply that, start to attach that to those 5 other pillars: prediction, constraints, conditions, boundaries, permissions. Where are you creating unnecessary difficulty for yourself? And I can say that I inadvertently came across a phantom threshold through trying to understand threshold, which created its own threshold, created the very boundary I was trying to move beyond. And then I saw mechanistically how it was lateral and not vertical. So I'm very grateful for all of that. And many of you, like I said, could probably feel the shift. And part of this is deconditioning. We're trying to de-armor and allow ourselves to be witnessed and have intimate relationships and relationships with other and more community or different kinds of community where we don't feel like we have to posture or we feel like we're not trying to feel lonely. We want to have lives that we're excited to wake up to and don't feel like they're a lot of work to navigate. You just feel like it's just dense, like you're just up against it. I wonder now how much memory I've moved through, how hard that was at that time, how I could have made it a little bit easier for me by just letting the hell go, letting go. Your highest self is a translation kit, okay? That translation kit sharpens and evolves and changes as you're connected to pure source. I reference off of Christ or Yeshua or the being known as a consciousness. And that's where I just now cross-reference because I want to stay in my heart space. I want to drop in and stay in my body as much as I can. And the consciousness community now, just to button this all up, is so transhumanistic and is moving you into all of this other language and vernacular and out of the body. It keeps you in the mental plane. So you're not in the body, you're bypassing the body, and it's delusional. It's very much a psychosis. AI is a mirror mechanical LLM model that you can train with really sharp precision, okay, to act and think-ish very much like you'd like it to. But you're still dealing with constraints from an external computer program that you have no access to. You operate the same way. You are a prediction machine. The only thing you need to pay attention to is what pattern you're present to, where is it in the body, and where are you creating unnecessary tension? Where are you creating unnecessary resistance and boundary? Like really, really, really simplify it. Yes, I can take you guys as far mechanistically and tell you, that this is the inverse pattern of that, and there's dual pattern here, and it moves into a trifecta, and it actually can reflect back on itself, and all that's kind of fun. And it gets into like resonance calculus almost in a way. And I'll touch on some of that stuff for sure in the pattern lab because it's interesting. And those who want to know the mechanics, I've got you. And the idea is for us to become our own gurus to ourselves, basically, our own coaches, to have our highest selves that we trust, that are translating impeccably, that we don't negotiate with. We feel it in our bodies. We relax into the timing, and we're pure source connected, full stop. For me, I feel, the spirit or lighter or a hell of a lot more peace when that is anchored through the fifth, through Yeshua. That's just me though. I'm not saying that is for everybody, but just feel the difference in like 2 podcasts ago till now. You can feel the shift in me. You can probably feel it shifted already in the book, and any content I put out has gotten a sparkle. It's gotten like an uplift. That book is like a living, breathing resource, right? So just feel if you can feel into that. But the intention of this podcast today is to now start looking for where you want to have more information in order to feel free, and what you notice about these communities, what you feel when you're hearing their content, and what you think their agenda is, and where you think they're getting their information from, right? Because what is information if you're not trying to embody it? All right, guys, I'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Take care.